Hello, friends. Welcome back to English Classes Online. My name is Benjamin. Today's video is on how to write a letter of appreciation in the Junior School Certificate Examination, also known as the Basic Education Certificate Examination. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. You will also find a bell icon. Click on it, and that will ensure that whenever a new video is uploaded on this channel, you will be notified instantly. Without much ado, let's get started. Now, Lagos State Basic Education Certificate 2021 English Studies, Section B, which is the theory section. That is where we are taking our question for today's class. And that is from part A, which is letter writing and composition. We are going to take question 1B, and the question is, your uncle with whom you stayed during your primary school days treated you like his own child. Write a letter of appreciation to him, giving at least 2 ways he treated you like his child. Now, first of all, you need to ask yourself, what type of letter is this? There are 3 main types of letters. You have the formal letter, the informal letter, and the semi-formal letter. Now, how do you identify each type of letter? Now, let me give you the definitions, and then you will use the definitions to figure out whatever type of letter you have been asked to write in your English exam. Now, a formal letter is an official letter. It's a letter you write to someone who occupies an official position. For example, if you are asked to write a letter to the Commissioner for Education or to the governor, that is a formal letter. But in this case, you are asked to write a letter to your uncle. Now, this corresponds to the definition of an informal letter. An informal letter is a letter you write to someone with whom you share a personal relationship. Now, of course, you know you share a personal relationship with your uncle, and that is what this question is all about. So a semi-formal letter has a combination of formal and informal letter features, and we shall explain this in subsequent lessons. Now, suffice it to say that what we are looking at is an informal letter. Your uncle with whom you stayed during your primary school days treated you like his own child. Write a letter of appreciation to him, giving at least 2 ways he treated you like his child. Now, first of all, we are going to look at the features of an informal letter. Before you write a letter, you need to begin with your address. That is the writer's address. That's the first feature of every letter. So an informal letter contains the writer's address only. Now, after your address, you write the date of that letter. The day you are writing that letter, the date should be there. This will be followed by the salutation, all right? Now, this will be followed by the salutation. After the writer's address and the date, then comes the salutation. Now, in this case, you are asked to write a letter to your uncle, so the appropriate salutation will be dear uncle. If you're asked to write to your father, you can write dear father. If you're asked to write to your mother, you can write dear mother. If you're asked to write to your friend and the name is John, you can write dear John. If you're asked to write to your sister, you write dear sister. To your brother, dear brother, and so on and so forth. So that is the salutation. Now, the third item on among the features of an informal letter is the content of the letter, which can be subdivided into 3 parts. A, introduction, B, the body of the letter, and C, the conclusion. We shall be looking at this one by one. Now, after this, you have the subscription or closing. After the content, then you have the subscription or closing, which is, you know, yours sincerely can be appropriate for dear uncle. If you are writing to your mother, you can write yours affectionately, or as the case may be. But now that we are asked to write to our uncle, yours sincerely is appropriate. Now, after the closing, then you have the writer's first name. You simply write your first name and you put a full stop. All right, these are the features of an informal letter. All right, and then we shall be looking at the requirements. When you are given a question in any English exam, you need to analyze it and know exactly the requirements before you begin to write. So that is the next thing we shall be looking at right now. Now let's look at the question once again. Your uncle with whom you stayed during your primary school days treated you like his own child. Write a letter of appreciation to him, giving at least 2 ways he treated you like his child. Now, the first thing is to identify what you are required to write. What are you required to write? It is simple. Are you required to write a story? No. Were you asked to write an article? No. Were you told to write a speech? No. What were you asked to write? A letter. Now, this is important because it is not really uncommon to find some students writing a letter without an address. I've come across it a number of times while marking student scripts. As a teacher with many years of teaching experience, I can say categorically that it is important to emphasize this. You must know exactly what you have been asked to write. You don't just start writing, all right? And you need to understand that a letter has a definite structure, which is different from the structure of a story or the structure of an article or the structure of a speech. Now, one thing unique about a letter is that it begins with an address, all right? So take note of this. When you are asked to write a letter, you write a letter, all right? Now, the second thing to identify is to whom, all right? To whom are you going to write this letter? Of course, in this particular question, you are asked to write a letter to your uncle with whom you have stayed during your primary school days. So then at this point, we should be able to figure out, you know, that this is an informal letter and not a formal one. You know, an informal letter has only one address, and that is the writer's address, and it has no title. And then you also need to understand that there is a difference between the type of language you use in an informal letter, which is different from the kind of language you are expected to use in a formal letter. So at this point, you figure out the type of letter you are going to write so that you will organize it in the appropriate manner. Now, the next thing you must figure out is the purpose of the letter. For what purpose? Now, you have been asked to write a letter of appreciation, giving your uncle at least 2 ways he treated you like his child. So that is the purpose of the letter. And then in getting your content right, you need to draw an outline. This is very important. You need to draw an outline because an outline is a very important, very important aspect of your preparation for any piece of writing. So we are going to look at how you can write an outline for this letter. You are asked to discuss at least 2 ways. So now the first one, you can talk about well, you can talk about making me feel at home or giving me a sense of belonging. Well, you can, this first point, the important thing is not what you write in your outline, but once you get a clear picture of the main idea you want to discuss. And then you can convert this idea into a topic sentence, which will be supported with the supporting details. Now here, you are saying that your uncle made you feel at home in his house, all right, gave you a sense of belonging. Now, there are a lot of things that you will put together, all right, to confirm that this is one major way in which he treated you like his own child. Of course, there are no fast and no hard and fast rules as to the idea you can discuss. It is up to you. Then the second one, you can talk about support. Well, you can talk about support for my schooling, all right? You can break it into 2, financial, all right, and moral support. Okay, so in this case, you have 2 major points that you want to discuss. You want to discuss in this letter. The first one is, that your uncle welcomed you into his house joyfully or with joy, and made you feel at home, gave you a sense of belonging, made you fit in as a member of the family without any discrimination. That's the point you are making in this first point. And then the second one is that he supported your schooling, both financially and morally. All right, so these are 2 major ways. Okay. Now back to our discussion here. Okay. So that is about the outline we have talked about. So drawing an outline is important. Then the next thing is, your use of language, which is expression, how well you express your ideas, your accurate use of mechanics or rules of written language, which is called mechanical accuracy. This also you have to consider or take into consideration. And once you have gotten a picture or the key ideas of how you are going to write this letter, then the next thing is to go ahead and write the letter. And so I'm going to show you how to to write this letter, all right? Now, you need to understand that a letter has a definite structure. And so we are going to begin with the address. You can use your house address if you like. For example, 20 Kano Street. Now, take note of the punctuation 20, comma, Kano Street, comma, then Ojo, comma. Take note of the fact that the street, you know, occupies a single line. The street number, the number and the street occupies a single line. Then the city or town, all right, occupies the second line. Then Lagos State occupies the third line. And this is where you put a full stop, since you are writing to your uncle who presumably lives within the country, because if he's living abroad, you should have been told specifically in that question that you are going to write to your uncle who is residing abroad. So once you are writing to someone within the country, then you can stop at the state address, and then you put a full stop after state. Now the next thing, so we have seen the street, the town, Ojo, and then the state, full stop. Then the next is the date, 10th November, comma, 2021. Of course, you have to put a full stop after this, all right? So that's the way it is. Now, once you are through with the address and date, the next thing will be salutation. And since you are writing to your uncle, the appropriate salutation is "Dear Uncle," and then you put a comma. Now, some people make this mistake of trying to start the address, to start the salutation from, you know, they give a space, they leave a space before starting, and probably they begin here to write "Dear," all right? This is not correct. It's absolutely incorrect. Now, this is the correct way to write your salutation. Begin right at the margin. After your address and date, the next line, you know, right at the left side margin of your answer sheet, you begin with "Dear Uncle," then followed with a comma. Now, after that, you know, this is an informal letter, so it doesn't need a title or headline. Therefore, what comes next is the introductory paragraph. The first paragraph takes care of your introduction. There are two ways you can begin an informal letter. You may begin with maybe exchange of pleasantries, if you like. Inquiring about the health or the welfare of the person you are writing to. Well, in an exam situation, because you are conscious of time and you want to manage your time, then you can be businesslike and use the direct method. In this case, you go straight into the purpose of your letter, and you reserve your informal greetings till the end, the last paragraph. So let's start with this introductory paragraph. I am writing this letter to thank you for being an excellent and caring uncle during my stay with you in my primary school days. Now, this actually is what you have been asked to write. A letter of appreciation, which is a letter expressing your gratitude and thanking your uncle, all right? So Now, this is optional. You may leave out this letter if you like. You can simply say, I am writing to thank you for being an excellent and caring uncle during my stay with you in my primary school days. You need to understand that this is where creativity comes into play. There are 1,001 ways in which you can really, rephrase this idea. You can say, I am writing to appreciate, or I write to express my appreciation to you for, for the kindness you showed me during my stay with you in my primary school days. There are no hard and fast rules as to how you must put it. Only you must come up with something that is acceptable, that is appropriate. Now, having stated this, then we go ahead to say, I want to sincerely appreciate you for treating me like your own child in all things throughout my stay with you. Now, don't forget that, you want to keep to what the examiner has instructed you to write. And it is important for you to include the keywords in that answer or writing prompt, if you like. Now, the idea of being treated like his own child must actually be incorporated into your content. And that is what we have done in this second sentence. I want to sincerely appreciate you for treating me like your own child in all things throughout my stay with you. Then the next one, I will give two specific instances of the numerous ways in which you treated me like your child. All right, so that actually is really, really important. Those keywords that featured in the question need to be incorporated here. So that is actually very, very important. In this case, you are saying that your uncle treated you like his own child in so many ways, but you want to talk about two specific instances of those numerous ways. This is really, really proper, since the purpose of the letter is to show appreciation, to express your profound gratitude for his kindness. Now, we are through with the introductory paragraph. Now, beginning with paragraph 2, which is where the body of our letter begins, we are going to discuss point number 1, and we take this point from the outline we already created. In our outline, we came up with 2 ideas, 2 key points. The first one is to talk about how your uncle received you joyfully into his family and made you feel at home. And then you give supporting details to, really drive the message home. And then the second one is the support he gave to you in your schooling, both financially and morally. All right, let's begin with the first one. And don't forget that in writing, you discuss one main point in one paragraph. You discuss another main point in another paragraph. So in paragraph 2, we start with key point number 1. To start with, you received me joyfully into your family and made me feel at home like every other member of your household. Now, this is the topic sentence. This is what we call the topic sentence. Now, a topic sentence is a sentence that contains the main idea in a paragraph. And it is a simple method when you start with when you start the paragraph with the topic sentence, then all other sentences that we follow will be used to support the point you have raised in that first sentence. So you can see our topic sentence here to start with, and then it's good to use a connective. All right, instead of maybe saying first of all or firstly. All right, you can say to start with. All right, so which is acceptable. To start with, you received me joyfully into your family and made me feel at home like every other member of your household. How did he do this? Now let's explain. These are supporting details that I am going to read out right now. You introduced me as your daughter to members of your family and emphasize that all your children should see me as their own sister. All right. So that's one major thing he did first, which showed that he treated you like his own child. Thereafter, you made sure that I had access to all the things provided to your own children, including food, drinks, clothes, and so forth. All right. So he went ahead to put his declaration into action and actually made you feel as a full part of that household. In this way, he treated you as his own child. All right. Now, let's go to the second paragraph. I mean, the third paragraph, but the second point that we are discussing in this letter. Furthermore, you gave me both the financial and moral support that I needed for my schooling throughout the period. You see, this is another topic sentence, and you use it to start a new paragraph. And once you have stated your topic sentence, then you will write other related sentences, other sentences containing related ideas that will give support, that will support the main or key point you mentioned in your topic sentence. Now let's take a second look at our topic sentence. Furthermore, you gave me both the financial and moral support that I needed for my schooling throughout the period. How did he do that? Now listen to the supporting details. I was never sent home for non-payment or late payment of school fees because you made sure that my school fees were paid on time. You see, that is one area in which he supported you, and this was his financial support. You bought me all the books needed for my classwork, and these helped me to participate effectively in all the lessons taught in class. This was another financial support. He bought the books needed for you to do your classwork effectively. Above all, you took time out of your very busy schedule to sit with me and ensure that I did all my homework. This was the aspect of his moral support. Apart from paying your school fees, buying books for you, he also sat with you and helped you to ensure you did all your homework. Well, what can anyone ask? What more can anyone ask for from a father? All right. So in this way, you have given a picture of the fact that he treated you like his own child. Then the next paragraph will be our concluding paragraph. Don't forget that the content of your letter is made up of 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Our introduction is the first paragraph, where we actually presented the purpose of the letter. And then in paragraphs 2 and 3, which make up the body of our letter, we discuss the 2 ways in which, you know, your uncle treated you like his own child. Then this next paragraph is our conclusion. We want to summarize or to sum up what we have said. All right? Now, and this is how you can do it. In conclusion, I will forever remain grateful to you for the good moral values I learned from you, especially those of love and compassion for others. You see, you have summarized this in a very, very philosophical manner. Now, you are saying that your uncle showed you kindness, you know, practically. And by doing that, he has also taught you moral values. In other words, he taught by example. The way he treated you has taught you a lesson on how to show love and compassion for others. All right. So you are saying that you remain grateful to him, not only because of those physical benefits that he gave to you, but even much more for these moral or spiritual values that he helped you to imbibe as well. So this is a very brilliant way to conclude your letter of appreciation. And then, having done that, you can now come up with extending your greetings to other members of the family. And you can do it in a very simple manner. For example, give my warm regards to Mommy, Olu, Titi, and Bece. Of course, you could address his wife as your aunt, or you could even say, extend my greetings to your wife and your children. But in this case, you want to show that your stay with them actually has transformed you into a real member of that family, to the extent that you see his wife, you call her mommy, all right? And then others whom you see as your brothers and sisters, you can address them as by their first name, all right? So that is acceptable. But at this juncture, you may ask, if you could address the wife as mommy, then why couldn't you address him as in your salutation? Why couldn't you write, dear father? Well, the explanation is simple. You don't want to violate anything. You don't want to actually disobey the instruction of the examiner. You were asked to write a letter of appreciation to your uncle, not to your father. So to that extent, it is proper for you to begin with the appropriate salutation, dear uncle, all right? So, but here you are extending regards, all right? And it doesn't really matter whose name you mention at this point, okay? Or the kind of pet name or the kind of name you mentioned. But the important thing is that you are extending your regards to members of the family. And once you have done this, then the last part of your letter will be the subscription and the writer's name. The appropriate subscription when writing to your uncle is yours sincerely. There are 2 points you must take note of. And the first one is that yours begins with the capital letter Y and sincerely begins with the small letter S. Take note of this. Very, very important. Then the third thing you must take note of here is that it must be followed with a comma. Yours sincerely, then comma. Now, the last thing here is your first name and a full stop. If your name is Fumi, you simply write Fumi and put a full stop. If your name is Mary, you write Mary and put a full stop. All right? So that is how to write this kind of letter. And this is where we are going to draw the curtain in today's video. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you actually learned the necessary lessons. You captured the ideas that you need, the steps to take in writing a letter like this. We have been looking at how to write a letter of appreciation in the junior school certificate examination, which some people call the junior WAEC or basic education certificate examination. Now, if you enjoyed this lesson, like the video and share the video with your friends and relations. If you have not subscribed to this channel, this is the appropriate time for you to hit the subscribe button and make sure you click on the bell icon as well, so that you will activate the notification system. This will ensure that whenever I upload a new video on this channel, you will receive immediate or instant notification. So you won't miss any new video I upload the moment it goes live on the channel. I want to appreciate all of you out there who have been part of today's video, and all of you who have subscribed to the channel and who have given your support consistently to this channel. I want to say a big thank you to all of you. I wish you well in whatever you are doing. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye for now, and remain blessed. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you in the new video. Thank you and